Hello, this is Ron Keel.
The streets of rock and roll. Jack Blades here.
Jack, it's great to have you back on the streets of rock and roll, my friend. Thanks for the opportunity.
It's great to be here. How you been, Ron?
I'm doing great, man. Really quick. I know time is short, so I don't want to keep you up too much, but can I get a liner real quick? This is Jack Blades at Night Ranger, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel, or something to that effect.
You got it. Hey, this is Jack Blades from Night Ranger, and you know what? I'm on the streets of rock and roll with my good buddy Ron Keel. Keep it up, Ron!
Awesome, dude. Thank you. Breakout, brand new music from Night Ranger. We also cranked up Bring It All Home to Me a little earlier in the program. Both fresh cuts from their latest album, ATBPO. Here to tell us what that acronym stands for is the frontman for one of rock's longest lasting and most loved bands, my man, Jack Blades. Welcome back, Jack.
Oh, man, so great to be with you again, Ron. So great to be with you. Yeah, man. And the band played on through all the stuff that we've been going through for the last year and a half, the world and the band and all this kind of stuff. We thought that would be a perfect title, and we thought we'd shorten it to ATBPO instead of, a long title, and the band played on. We always liked that. Yeah, we always like that OU812 thing, So.
That's right. That's exactly what it reminded me of. And some of our younger listeners may not know, Jack, that's a reference to the musicians who were on the Titanic, who kept on playing even when the ship was sinking.
That's right. There you go. There you go. However, our ship's not sinking. Ours floating bigger.
It sure as hell is, man. I'm really happy for you. And for most artists, creating during the pandemic was like therapy, man. If you hadn't been shut down and locked down, would you still have placed this much emphasis on writing and recording a new album?
That's a good point. I mean, I think that at first when everything, like we were on tour and I think it was March 13th, like suddenly everything got canceled. Every show got canceled across the U.S. March 13th. We call it the day the music died.
Uh-huh.
And then we're like, okay, yeah, I'll go home. I'll hang out because I haven't been home this much since like 1986 or something. You know what I mean? It's been years and years and years. And I, you don't mind at first. And then suddenly you realize what your whole heart and soul is all about. And that's all about writing and playing and going on tour and being on a stage and all that kind of stuff. So it's like after a while of sitting around and just like digging being home and stuff like that, we're like, man, we got to do something. And of course, let's make a record. It's so funny. I was talking to a couple months ago. I was over in Phoenix with Alice Cooper, and he was saying, yeah, I think there's going to be about 1,000 albums released this year because everybody, all the bands, all they had to do was they couldn't do anything else, so they could make a record. So there's probably going to be millions of records released in 2021.
Well, you've just released a really good one. This album, probably a little different in your approach, writing and recording remotely with all you guys carving tracks in your home studios and then sending them back and forth online. What are the big differences doing it that way as opposed to how we used to do it old school with everybody hanging together in the studio?
Yeah, actually, it really sucked. I mean, it's like we really wanted to be, at first we wanted, we did a couple Zoom calls and those were, that was okay, but they kind of ended up semi-lame too. And so we were just like, oh gosh. We wanted to do it like we've always done old school, like our old things ever since we started making records again, like from the Somewhere in California album on, we've all gotten in a room, jammed them out, and then gone immediately into a studio and recorded them, or in the studio while we were working them out in my studio or something like that. So in this respect, we had to just come up with songs and send them all around and everything like that. And what it did is it ended up with some of these songs had like 150 tracks on them. Like, what? It's like we had so many, like our keyboard player Eric would put like 12 or 15 tracks on, and then he hadn't heard what Brad had done yet because Brad hadn't put anything on. Wow. Then Brad starts recording stuff, and then you got to pull off some of Eric's stuff because that clashes with this. And then Kerry had a bunch of guitar parts that didn't work with Brad's, and this worked, and this did this and that, and then it's just like, wow. And then, then you have to go through it all. And I'm the guy that's got to talk to everybody and go, and everybody's calling me going, hey, where's my part? And it was like, we had to just like pull it all. But the end result, everybody is so happy with it. You know what I mean?
It's a fantastic record. It's got that classic Night Ranger energy, and it does. The sounds are very thick. By the way, I find it, strangely enough, it seems to make it kind of more of a team effort because all the players can play. They can play their hearts out, in their own comfort zone in their home studio on their own time, whether it's the first thing in the morning or the middle of the night. But you're the guy who has to go through all those tracks and make the last say and find out what does or doesn't belong in the final mix, right?
Right. It was pretty crazy, but it turned out okay. Things are pretty obvious, you know that stuff from being in the studio. I mean, things work, things don't work, this sounds good, let's blend these two things together. I mean, and there were great dual harmony guitars. I mean, I loved it because Brad would play a solo and Kerry would go, well, I'm going to have to outdo that. Let me see what I can do. I mean, these are like gunslingers trying to see who could outshoot each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was going on. And then me singing the songs. I mean, a lot of these, I wrote 7 or 8 of songs and started sending them all around. And a lot of the demo vocals that I recorded are the lead vocals that are on the record. You know what I mean? It's like, because I was able to just like you said, I'm sitting in my own room and I could do it as often I did, or just whatever I, felt like doing and all that kind of stuff. And they just ended up being the ones that we used for the actual final record. I couldn't even top them. So, it worked out, it worked out really well. Kelly went in Arizona and cut all the drums and at this great studio in LA, in Phoenix, and the drums just came out great. Then I put a real good bass on it to make it solid instead of the demo bass. And we just built it all up from there. And it just turned out, I think the record it has more of a groove than a lot of our records because of the fact that we were so focused in on, man, we got to make this sound like we're playing together. We got to make this sound like we're playing together. Got to make this sound like playing together. I think it's even better than some of the other records.
Man, I agree. And I can't pick a favorite, especially amongst those last 4 studio albums that you guys have released. But I love them all. And I personally love the vocal sound on this new release. By the way, it's pretty dry and right in your face. You can hear you can hear your lips, you can hear your teeth. I mean, that vocal sound is really, really in your face, as opposed to all the reverb and delay we used to use back in the 80s.
Right, exactly. I mean, and that made it so much more fun to do on a song like December, where we break it down and Brad plays his guitar part and I'm singing, just all this, baby, please don't go. And he's like, do. I mean, we're like going back and forth to each other. And that was kind of, when you get it to where it's just dry and everything like that, that's inspirational, man. That's Absolutely. Like you're on stage right next to the guy.
It sounds like it, too. It sounds like it as well. I'm talking to Jack Blades from Night Ranger and the new album, ATBPO. I hope I got that right. I'm not reading a script or anything. And the band played on. Available at nightranger.com. Now, you guys are back on stage in a big way now. That lockdown, shutdown is in the rearview mirror. And you raised the roof close to the show at the M3 Festival, and a lot of big gigs on the calendar at nightranger.com. It seemed like some fans, and I'm one of them, some fans were surprised that you didn't include at least one new song in the set list for M3. I would have been expecting to hear Breakout, which was apparently on the set list a couple of nights ago when you played Wisconsin. Talk to me about the decision to not play anything new at M3.
Yeah, we were... that was one of the first shows, like we were back and everything like that. And everybody wanted to just kind of get used to it and get back in the saddle. And there were some other issues at M3 that we had to deal with and all this kind of stuff. So we just didn't have the time to be able to throw that thing down. But now, of course, we've done it. We did it in Wisconsin last week. We're going to play it again this Friday night. We're playing Rockfest with We Go On, then Phil Anselmo, then Corey Taylor, then Limp Bizkit. So that's going to be a big rock show this Friday night, and so we're going to slowly add another one and add another one and another one. I mean, we want to play like 3 or 4 off this new album. I think there's really some I want to play, I Want to Dance. I think that's a great song to play off. What a great tune. You know what I mean? And so hard to make it easy. We've never done a shuffle before. And it's almost like, we're such big fans of Thin Lizzy. It's almost got a Lizzy vibe to it, that song, So there's, we can't wait to be able to start, whipping and then songs like, when you can't afford a hero, I mean, that's one of my favorite things that we do. I mean, there's so much material on this stuff that people are going to start hearing it, when it gets released August 6th. So they'll get a real good, view of what this record's all about. I
get it. And, with so many huge number one hits, man, you've got to play all those. So it's tough to fit the new songs into the set list. So I get that. I was just curious why that wasn't in the show for M3, and you covered that well. There have been times recently when certain guys in Night Ranger have had to opt out for medical procedures. Fred Corey came in, and Fred, he's a friend of mine. He had the best time filling in for Kelly a few years ago with Night Ranger, and this year, our guitar hero Brad Gillis missed some shows due to rotator cuff surgery, and you guys did all those gigs as a four-piece, right? With Kerry Kelly covering all the guitar parts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Kerry did it, but he sure pulled it off. And we were thinking, what do we do? Do we just do we get somebody else to play these songs with us and all that stuff? And we're like, nah, let's just do it four-piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just do it the way we know how to do it, and just kick it out that way. And so, yeah, we had to do that for a couple 3 months with Brad being, on the injured reserve list.
Yeah.
And he's so happy to be back right now. He's going crazy on stage. So it's really, really fun. He's back 100%. He's back at 100%. Kelly's 100%. Everybody's 100% right now.
That's great, man. And I did text Brad a few days before you guys were in Sioux Falls, and he had told me then that he wasn't going to be a part of the show, but all I heard on the street was that the show was fantastic and Kerry did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how any of that. I mean, Kerry's a great player, and what's great about Kerry is he really tips his hat to who we are. I mean, we played with, he's been with us for almost, over 8 years now and stuff like that. And he tips his hat, but yet Kerry brings this organic groove to everything that, he plays so like groove oriented and everything like that it really, really locks it together. And so he pulled it off, all those double solos and everything. And then Eric Levy, our keyboard player, played a lot of the double solos with him, which was really like, we're like, okay, Eric, you got to play all these harmony parts. He's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, and so he had to, he learned all the parts, but they did a great job doing it. And let's hope we never have to do that again.
Yeah, I was going to ask, man, if the situation ever were to arise, who would cover for Jack Blades?
That would be a good that'd be a good question. Kip Winger.
That's a good one. That's a great choice. Way to formulate a very good answer right off the cuff there, man. So Jack Blades from Night Ranger on the show on the Streets of Rock and Roll. We've shared the stage many times. I've got so many great memories with you on stage and off, and I appreciate your friendship and all the great music through the years, my friend.
Oh, thanks, Ron. The same thing goes out to you. You know what I mean? And it's fun being able to be with friends and that we've known for years and years and years, and the survivors of all this stuff. I mean, we've been playing now it'll be 40 years in 2022 that we released the Dawn Patrol record. It's right. Like that's mind-boggling to me. It's really crazy, is. But I love it because we go on the road and we see all our buddies. Like we're touring next year with Sammy Hagar and Whitesnake. I mean, Joel Hoekstra plays with Whitesnake. So does Kip Winger's guitarist. Reb Beach. That's and right. Reb was a Night Ranger and Joel was a Night Ranger. And then and we're going out with it's going to be it'll probably be Night Ranger, Whitesnake, and Sammy Hagar. And Sam, we've known Sam since 1982. I mean, he put us on tours before we even had a record deal. Our first tour was with him. And so when we go out with friends and see everybody, and like Corey Taylor, he and I are going back and forth to each other. We can't wait to see each other at this show this Friday night. I'm going to get Corey to come up on stage and jam on "Don't Tell Me You Love Me." He loves that song. So,
absolutely.
I mean, that's what it's all about at this stage of the game, man. We just want to have fun, and everybody just rock out, and the fans know it, and they appreciate it.
That's right. And you and your, all the people you mentioned, and I'm glad to be a very small thread in that big tapestry and have crossed paths a few times with you. But we are all one big happy family, both the bands and the fans.
Amen, bro. Amen.
The new album, the new Night Ranger release, ABPTO, stands for And the Band played on. Available on all platforms, including a really cool limited edition on yellow vinyl. Get it now at nightranger.com. Don't miss these guys. If they're anywhere near you on tour, the energy is just as electric as it was 39 and a half years ago, both on stage and off. My special guest, Jack Blades. Thanks again, Jack. Have fun out there. Hope to see you soon.
You got it, Ron. God bless, and we'll see you out there.
Got it, man. Great job. I appreciate it, Jack. Have a great rest of your day.
Wonderful. You got it, bro. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
I'll be right back after this. This is the Metal Cowboy, Ron Keel, and I've got your all-access pass to tons of exclusive video and audio that you won't get anywhere else. Be a member at patreon.com/Ron Keel. Special merchandise discounts, VIP access at my concert appearances, live online video chat, guitar clinics, vocal tips, songwriting workshops, live online house concerts, and much more. Welcome to patreon.com/Ron Keel.
Ride South. South by South Dakota. The new album from Ron Keel Band. A celebration of the Southern rock tradition, featuring classic songs from all the iconic Southern rock legends. The Allman Brothers. Leonard Skinner. Outlaws. Molly Hatchet. Blackfoot. Marshall Tucker Band. 38 Special. South by South Dakota. The new album from Ron Keel Band and an unbelievable show. Visit ronkeel.com and ride south.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off. That is Cose Bella, so beautiful, just released by my friend and special guest John Corabi, a veteran solo artist and former frontman for the Dead Daisies, The Scream, Union, lots of other great projects, and he spent about 5 years replacing Vince Neil in Motley Crue. Greetings, John. Welcome to the streets of rock and roll. Thanks for doing this, man.
How you doing? Thanks for having me, buddy.
Man, it's my pleasure. Congratulations on the new single, a really fun, catchy song, and the first in a series of fresh tracks to launch this new chapter of your solo career. So congrats, dude.
Thank you, buddy. You know what? I'm having fun. It's a new world, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is, you know, so I just, I'm having fun writing with, you know, a few friends, Marty Fredrickson, Richard Fordish from Guns N' Roses, you know, a few guys, and just putting some stuff together. I finally got my head out of my butt and figured out how to use Pro Tools. So I'm a little caveman about it, but I've just been recording a lot of this stuff at my house, and then I get it to a certain point to give it to Marty to finish up and produce, if you will. And it's been fun, man. It's cool.
Well, you're well known, well liked by both the fans and the industry, but you have been fairly quiet since your departure from the Dead Daisies. You know, COVID had that effect on most all of us. And choosing the song that becomes the flagship for your reemergence, man, that's an important decision. What convinced you that Cose Bella was that song?
Well, you know what, dude? Like, honestly, it was. You know, the COVID thing really made me rethink a lot of shit. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, that having that time off and being told, okay, you can't do what you want to do or what you love to do. It made me rethink everything. And you know, I mean, I'm giving you, you know, I'm sure you felt it as well.
Absolutely.
Like, I sitting there looking at everything going, man, like 90+% of my income is from touring. Obviously you're also well aware of the fact that, you know, bands, you know, not just guys like us, but a lot of bands are not selling records anymore. There's that rare, you know, handful of people that like the hard physical product. They like looking at the liner notes and all that stuff. And I'm going to do that at some point. I will make vinyl and CDs, But man, I mean, most of the stuff that people are buying right now, they're buying it through Amazon or they're buying it at shows. It's not like it used to be. So I kind of took some time. I rethought everything. I sat down with Marty and we discussed it. So I took the Pro Tools classes, which took me a little while. I'm still figuring it out. So that was kind of productive. I wrote a book that's coming out next year. So I was productive. And then as far as the music, I just sat there and I'm like, a lot of people know that I'm into the Beatles and all these different things. And I just wanted to get out of the thing about doing everything now digitally is it's like, okay, I'm not putting a whole record out right now. I'm just doing, I've got enough material for an album, but I'm digitally releasing one song at a time. And I just looking at everything that I had, there's a lot of stuff that's in my wheelhouse. I just wanted to do something completely different, maybe a little left of center, and just go, you know what, there's a little more to John Corabi than what you've heard for the last 25 years. So it was just really, I think Casabella basically, even from some of the comments that I've seen on the video and the song so far, people are like, wow, not what I would have expected. I like it, not what I would have expected. So I think at this point, it kind of sets me up to do anything I want to do musically, which is, it's kind of a cool little freedom to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well said, man. And your career has not been defined by any one project or style. So I was going to ask you about that. You obviously are one of those guys that does keep one browser window open and checks the stream count and the YouTube views and the comments every couple of hours.
No, I don't. Honestly, Ron, as you're well aware, being an artist as well, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, with fans, with critics, with, if you go out and you do your, like whatever, like a lot of these bands now, like, for example, Kiss or Aerosmith or these guys, they go out and they do all the songs that people want to hear. So then they get damned for not being creative and putting out anything new. But if they put out anything new and it doesn't sound like the old stuff, then it's like, it's not the, you know what I mean? So you can't really win. So I don't really pay mind. I mean, let's face it, doing the 5 years that I did in Motley, it was a great time. I had a lot of fun with those guys. But let's face it, from day one, I was kind of the redheaded stepchild because they're like, where's Vince? So I've kind of dealt with adversity pretty much my whole career. Even joining the Daisies. In the beginning, they had a singer prior to me named John Stevens. There was a lot of people that were like, F you, I'm not accepting this guy at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of, I just write. I do the best that I can. I write, and I just do what I think is cool and fun and put it out there. And I know there's going to be some fans that go, I hate this. This doesn't sound anything like Corabi on the Motley record or the Union or Scream or whatever. And then there's going to be some that accept it and go, okay, cool. And if you like it, awesome. I appreciate it. If you don't, then you know what? Maybe the next song that I release will be a little more in my wheelhouse, and you'll dig that one.
Yeah, that's one thing I admire about you, John, is that you have been able to diversify and be a part of so many projects and bands. And I'm the same way, man. You're talking to a guy who went from metal to country to hard rock to southern rock, so I get that, man. You can't please everybody. You got to please yourself.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, why is there? I mean, one of the greatest rock bands of all time, let's say the Beatles, if you go back and you look at it, I mean, they had some great stuff, but, they, as great as the Beatles are, they even did a cover back in the day when they first came out. They even did a cover of a Buck Owens song called Act Naturally. So that's the thing, man. I really kind of hate labels. I hate getting pigeonholed into things. And, again, I didn't plan on being in as many bands as I was in. It just worked out that way. That's the deck of cards that I was dealt. But I try to make the best of it. I love music. I love some, not all, but some country music. I love rap. Not all, but some of it. So I try to just keep my ears open and listen to different things. And I love Motown. I'm not well versed in it, but blues. So, as a musician, hearing different things and being inspired by different things, why not use it all? So I don't like labels either. I don't understand why it's country music and rock and roll. And you know what I mean? It's just music. It's entertaining the masses.
That's the way I've always felt as well. The bands you and I grew up listening to, Zeppelin, the Beatles, the Stones, Queen, they all were so incredibly diverse. What's wrong with us following in those footsteps? I'm speaking with John Corabi on the Streets of Rock and Roll and the Ron Keel podcast. For everyone listening, please visit johncorabi.com, a very comprehensive website with everything you need, all the social media links. So hit that up and like and follow Corabi and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. John, tour dates also listed on the website include Louisville, Kentucky, Hollywood at the legendary Whiskey A Go-Go, and Phoenix, Arizona. You do a lot of solo acoustic dates, but these are full band shows. Is that correct?
The shows, the ones that you mentioned right now, it's just me still going out, doing my acoustic things. And I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed about that. I just had a bunch of shows postponed again due to the Delta variant.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I don't, I'm not at this point. I'm just focused on getting the book, finished to be published, and just keep pushing forward and finishing up, some of these ideas and songs that I have, and I'm stockpiling, and I just want to release some music, and hopefully things will clear up where we can all get out and just start playing music again and touring wherever we want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, and let's talk about the book. This is the first I've heard about the book. Is it an autobiography?
Yes, and just for the record, so people know, it is not a tell-all Motley Crue book. This is, from beginning to end, pretty much right up to, today. But the book goes from birth to now, and it's just, I've really kind of dived deep into a lot of different subjects. Some that I even wrote about, like goes into the stories of Uncle Jack. And if anybody out there has the Motley record, they know that was my mother's brother who molested my brothers and sisters and different things like that. And it really dives into a lot of that stuff. It's called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. We signed a publishing deal with a company called Rare Bird in L.A., and I believe it's coming out the first quarter of next year.
Your 5-year tenure with Motley Crue is well documented in the media and in a lot of your previous interviews, which you're really cool and very well spoken and really real. What I haven't read or heard about, John, is the transition out of the Dead Daisies into this current phase of your solo career. I had Doug Aldrich on the show a while back. I asked him about that transition, but it's still unclear. Can you elaborate on how you went from the Daisies to not the Daisies and now into this new phase?
To be honest with you, if I can be frank, when I initially got the phone call to hook up with those guys, the way it initially was supposed to, or we talked about things was, my thing would help their thing would help my thing, and they would only need me for, a certain amount of time every year. And, so I was like, okay, cool, and I really, really liked everybody that was in the band. It was like Dizzy Reed, Brian Tishy, Richard Fortas, all these people. And I was like, wow, this is great. Marco, so I went out, I met them. I went and did those shows in Cuba with them. And then the next thing I know, literally 30 days later, I'm in Australia, I'm doing this record. But it was weird. Once we released that record, we went on tour with Kiss, and then we were out with Whitesnake, and then we went back out with Kiss again. And it was the whole year, boom. and the band really started to open up some eyes to what we were doing. And then, you just kind of get stuck in this thing where it's like, okay, we need another record. Back on tour. And it was like 4 years of just insanity of like, go. So it was I just kind of got to the point where I was like, for a moment, I needed to catch my breath. I mean, I was with the Daisies from 2015 to like the end of 18. January 1st is I kind of said, this is when I'm out. So 3 years. I mean, we did like a greatest hits record. We did 3 studio albums, a live album, and we toured on all of them. So that's a lot of output in 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of tapped out. I'm like, and it was all on good terms. I'm still great friends with all the guys. We text each other. Like I saw, when I released Casabella, Glenn Hughes and Doug Aldridge wrote to me. They're like, hey, dude, great song. Great tune, man. Really excited for you, blah, 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 whatever. So we're all on very good terms. And, it's one of those things, never say never. Like, would I ever do anything with them again in the future? Probably. But, right now, everything's running great for them. I'm happy for them with what they did with Glenn. I just needed some air. Like it was just like I was like, wow, this is really a lot.
That's
like
intense.
We were doing a lot.
Yeah, you crammed a decade into that 3 or 4 year span there, and I know you were very busy and did a great job at that gig. That new song, Cose Bella, I love saying it with the Italian accent, Cose Bella / So Beautiful. It's out right there now, and everybody loves it. You can find that again at johncorabi.com. All the social media links are there, the new video, tour dates, merch from the Crab Shack, all that good stuff at johncorabi.com. John, thanks so much for talking the rock and rocking the talk. I appreciate your time. Good luck with the